Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back on another video from Seth the Programmer. I love his Death Note videos. They don't come out that often, but when they do, they really hit, land, have a really good, interesting point to make about the series. He did one about if Batman would solve the Kira case at one point, which was a great video. And all the others have just been boss, and I am intrigued to see what this is about, what Light actually wanted. Let's see what Seth thought Light actually wanted within his own plans, I guess. I don't know.
A boy finds a notebook that you can write anybody's name down in and kill on a whim.
Yeah.
Wants to change the
Mental.
world by killing bad people and scaring people from doing bad. Seems simple. So, when
Yeah,
the
but it's
police
not.
come for him, why doesn't he just sit in his room and keep doing it? It's not like they'd ever find him. Is he stupid? Well, what if I told you? That's not exactly what he actually wanted to do to begin with. In this video, let's go over the truth of Light Yagami's motives and what he actually wants as a character, both consciously and unconsciously. For the past few years, I've been noticing this very common misconception of who Light is as a person, and they use it to attack Death Note as a fluffed-up pseudo-intellectual series where the characters are actually somewhat dumb, but ramble and monologue in ways that seem intelligent. Some people go so far as to say the main character is so dumb he loses in episode 2. However, as I said, these are usually due to a few misconceptions.
I nearly did a reaction to
Light
that.
Yagami and L, the protagonist and antagonist, respectively, of Death Note, and what they actually want to accomplish and do with their positions. I've hinted at a bit of this in my video. Is L actually evil?
Oh, that was a good one as well. That was class.
This if you want, but this is more on the side of Light and how he more so functions in the story.
Cool.
In context, Light Yagami is a bit of a blessed child, very smart, considered handsome,
He's
has a
brought up well.
loving and supporting family, and
Got it
has
all
the
there.
future sort of down pat.
Yeah.
This is made further evident by other students being extremely jealous of him when he makes
Like, people know who he is, he stands out,
and
yeah.
how there's no justice because he has everything going on. Everything is pretty much guaranteed to go well. So, what made him snap?
Yeah, like,
and
why would
become
he do
Kira,
this? Yeah.
one of the most famous killers in all of shonen history. Disinterest and boredom.
Huh.
Light is very smart, and it's due to that he knows how things are going to go. The things that therefore excite Light and interest him are things that are unknown, and things that are not so certain, which is exactly why a notebook of death that can kill anybody interests him so much.
Definitely.
Due to the way that Light is raised growing up, he has an inherent idea of justice being shoved in his head throughout his entire life.
Well, yeah, his dad's
father,
like...
Soichiro Yagami,
There you go.
is the ideal good person. To the point that even Death Note's author calls him pretty much the only good person in the story for the most part. Soichiro loves justice, honesty, and supporting those he loves.
Yeah, so he has an idea of what it is.
Light, and we find that many times throughout the story when his murder-intoxicated self is wiped off of him, such as when he loses his memory, he becomes the ideal Yagami child that embodies these traits. The only difference between the mind-wiped Light and the normal one, however, when they first learn of the Death Note, is their position in comparison to it. For the normal Light, the Death Note was introduced to him before anybody else. The lack of certainty and supernatural notebook was something he had to look into to confirm it existed.
Yeah, that was a weird one, yeah.
Light, this concept was already pitted against him.
And he was told how it works and that.
Known to him in advance. He was in the position to hunt for it instead of learning of it himself.
Yeah, okay,
When Yagami first obtains the Shinigami notebook, we get a flashback of him thinking of using it, in which we get the first real insight to his true motives. His desire to kill his boredom. This is due to him actually doing things he regrets astronomically even as Kira after the fact, and even doing things he would normally never do, even after becoming an intoxicated super killer later. The first example of this is when he decides to test the notebook first.
Okay.
Of course, he is actively and possibly killing someone that doesn't really deserve it in either Light or even L's opinions later. such as the Shinjuku Killer, who is considered extremely minor compared to the others Light would
God,
kill
yeah.
after.
Right.
This is due to the fact, of course, Light didn't know fully if the notebook
Would
even
work. Yeah,
but
yeah, he
it's
didn't have a
still
clue, yeah, so
important to
he
note he tried
tested it.
anyway on this possibly undeserving person.
Just in case.
Shortly after this, we see him in class, and we see some bullies picking on a fellow student of his, in which Light contemplates to himself if he should kill the bullies, but only rejects the notion due to the fact that he shouldn't kill people so close to him. That is a pretty
That's the only reason he did it.
overlooked statement. Kill
Wow.
some school bullies? Kira would never kill someone that petty remotely later on, and in fact,
Oh yeah, later on he's very
the
much like,
idea of
justice
Kira
is
that
the
kill in his name,
pinnacle.
killing people that are too minor or undeserving later, especially so
But as he
early.
started on, yeah,
So
okay,
why did
wow.
he suggest killing kids for bullying? Because the Death Note is still new to him.
Yeah, yeah, he's
The
learning.
excitement of using it is above any moral compass
Yeah, yeah,
he
get that.
has.
He would get that
Later,
rush
we
when he's
see
like,
him again
I
in
have the
another
power.
situation
I
where
know
he's
now.
confronted with someone named Takuo Shibuimaru, a biker who is too aggressive when
Oh,
trying to
these
pick up
guys
a
pricks.
girl. Light kills him by slamming a truck into him as he chases the girl before he actually technically commits a crime. This is something later explained in Death Note How to Read as being something Light actually regrets and has to come to terms with. In fact, he's so disgusted with himself, he almost vomits literally on the panel.
Oh, wow.
Why did he do it? Because the Death Note's abilities and what they could do were more interesting.
They're intriguing, yeah, he wants to know. It's like, wow, yeah.
And starts to value his moral compass more than the Death Note's random attributes and abilities.
Yeah, like,
But in this
what am I
situation,
capable
his
of
boredom
then
and
with this?
desire
Yeah.
for something more interesting overtook him, and this is exactly why the first chapter of Death Note is called Boredom. It goes
Right.
even further than this, though. We still have to answer, why doesn't Light just sit in his room and kill people with the notebook if his interest now is changing
Yeah,
the
because then
world
that's still
and
boring as well,
enforcing
just
his
sitting
moral
there doing the
compass?
same thing.
Because as I stated earlier, this is not what he wants. So let me prove it further.
Okay.
At the end of chapter
This is
1 of
really
Death
interesting,
Note,
Jesus.
we see Light Yagami encounter the God of Death that owns the Death Note he found, Ryuk. Ryuk explains his motives to Light and says
And he was
dropped
bored,
it
right.
out of boredom. He just wanted to see how someone would use it for the fun of it.
Yeah.
Light 2 then replies that he has been using it because he has been
Bored as
too,
well, right.
but not before he admits he has been so excited for people to find out about his existence and change the world to the point he has lost 10 pounds from not eating due to the anticipation of the moments. His eyes glow and his face lights up as he sees people recognizing him for something interesting. His position as a god. Ryuk, after hearing Light's goals, becomes elated.
Yeah, he's shaking
The whole
like, this
idea
is
very
awesome.
fun.
Yeah.
Ryuk's reactions are very important, and I'll get into those again soon.
Cool.
In the Death Note How to Read guide on page 76, Tsugumi Oba, the author of Death Note, actually goes over why he named every chapter what he did.
Oh,
And this is
wow.
what he says about chapter 1,
Wow.
Boredom. End quote. The reasons for why Ryuk dropped the notebook and for why Light wants to become a god arise from boredom. So there was no hesitation in choosing this title for the first chapter.
Right, that makes sense.
Even though Light didn't exactly start using the notebook only out of boredom. End quote. Of course, there are more things than boredom for Light to start using the notebook, as I outlined earlier, such as his indoctrinated sense of justice.
Yeah, like, he has an idea of what justice is, yeah.
But you get the idea. Shortly after Light explains his fun idea to Ryuk, well, fun.
Fun.
The Super
Let's
Detective
go.
L has begun his move against Kira with the help of the international police. The famous scene of him baiting Light into killing a prison inmate standing
what a
in for
scene.
him
That was
that'll only
insane.
be airing on TV in the Kanto region of Japan to get his exact locations. L tells Light that he is not all beloved, that he is a murderer, and that he will catch and kill him. This new and mysterious powerhouse that rivals him in intelligence is the ultimate game.
This is it.
In fact,
My boredom is gone now.
how disappointing it was that their cat and mouse game could have been a lot more fun if L had been smarter before he killed L's stand-in,
L.
Lindell
Taylor.
But then we see Ryuk's reaction, and he is completely elated and brimming with excitement, calling humans a riot.
Yep.
If you don't get it yet, Ryuk is somewhat of a projection of Light's interest.
Yes,
His
he
boredom,
is showing
his
us
inner
what he's thinking
demons.
inside. Okay, I like that. Yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
reaction Ryuk shows is the reaction Light has on the inside.
Yeah, it's like he's not showing it outside. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ryuk's showing it.
Play.
Yeah, class,
This
love
is
it.
what
Yeah.
he's been looking for. To
I
say
like
he
this.
lost
This
when
is
the game
so
just
good.
started is somewhat of a nearsighted perspective on what's actually happening. Later, Light actually comments on the idea that he could just sit in his room with the Death Note and L would never find him, and could never get any proof of it. But instead, he says, but I want to kill L. That's right, he values capturing and killing L
Yeah.
just as much, if not even more so, than changing the world and his moral compass. But he could just kill people slowly and surely, gain support
Yeah,
from the shadows, and
but that's
L
boring.
never found any evidence, loses favor with the public, and eventually nothing happens. L would sort of lose by default. But Light actively doesn't want that. He
No.
specifically wants to find and
L
execute
and
the
eliminate
man
him.
named L, because it is interesting. To break it down, Light had a dilemma in which he had to choose between his divine mission and his pride and boredom, but we see Light choose to risk his goal of changing the world when he challenges L. This shows us Light's true character and bypasses the idea that saving the world was his priority, or that he truly cared for it compared to the satisfaction of winning a game.
Yeah, he's got a... Yeah.
You see this stated verbatim when
Love
Light,
it.
after shaking a bit of his rust off and getting ganged up on by L's successors, Nier and Mello, instead of anger or despair that he has to play these games all over again, he smiles.
He's like, come on,
Something
let's do it again.
interesting is
Let's
happening
go.
again after the
Let's
death of L.
go. Yeah.
In fact, there's a situation where Light has the opportunity or a potential situation to kill all of the MPA agents he's working with and fake his own death to escape Nier and get away with everything. However, the reason he doesn't is for the mere fact that he would be running away.
Yeah.
Running away from the challenge.
No way.
His competition. His pride. These aren't the only times these things are brought up either. We see that not only is he bored, but he's highly competitive. Ever wonder what the point at the tennis
Match.
was?
I instantly thought that as soon as he said that. I was like, yeah.
Maybe just break the ice a bit better, but even generic conversation.
He still doesn't want to lose it. It's like, come on.
It was for L to confirm if Light really was childish and hated losing just like him. But what we learn in actuality is that Light hates losing and is possibly even more competitive than L ever was. To the point that even after learning that the tennis game's victor had no point between them, Light actively states he wants to beat L down at it. And after the game is over, he's panting and dripping with sweat, whereas L doesn't have a single drop on him. You could say he really doesn't like losing, right?
Right.
From here, people don't understand why Light made it obvious that he was a student and let the police track his killings. This is because, once again, they don't understand the story too well. The reason Light makes him being a student and knowledge more obvious is to close the gap between him and L. The second the police suspect he's a student, he shows he can kill people whenever he wants with zero schedule attached, to the point that L realizes that Yagami is not only baiting him, but making fun of him too.
Yeah, he's like, come on,
Light
catch me,
plans to use the police
catch
to turn
me.
them on the super detective, and in fact, if L didn't straight up meet the police and Light in person, this would have actually worked. I outlined these struggles more in my Light vs. L video, who was
Great video.
smarter. Anyway, after all this,
Great
with the
video.
police is
Seth
done
does some
and Light
really
makes his
good
moves
Death
back,
Note videos, man.
L comments
Power
that
scaling,
Light
he's
has
the king
closed
of,
the
but
gap
these
with
Death Note videos are amazing as
time
well.
for them to meet being at hand. After this, it's mainly Misa's slip-ups that cause Light to be put in bad situations, but that's a discussion I've already had in a few other videos that's not really relevant to this one. The other part of Light's character is his intense pride, which I somewhat foreshadowed already, which is also shown many times throughout the story, and also most notably during the tennis match. L also shares this trait and is willing to even take down innocent detectives in challenges of pride and destroy them to justify his positions and his place in the world, his sense of what he calls justice, which I once again go over in the L Evil video. This pride between them is so great that Light won't ever run away or take the easy way out against anybody at Whammy's house, and the fated battle between he and L is actually titled The Battle of Pride. This pride causes the characters to do things that would be seemingly suboptimal in dealing with the situation. But this doesn't just apply to Light, but to L and even Nier as well. To go further into that, everyone in the SPK, which is Nier's task force for taking down Kira after L's death, basically agrees that Light is Kira. They trust Kira's judgment on this 100%. Light actually questions if Nier has L's pride in his monologues, and thinks Nier may straight up try to kill him due to not having it.
Right.
Now, we later learned that Nier actually does have pride, and would refuse to detain or kill Light, even if he only does something moderately
Yeah, it's like, I need to
suspicious,
know for definite.
until he has a 100% and utter victory over him to win L's battle of pride. This pride is what makes a lot of the characters seemingly do things, like I said, that don't seem optimal, and is another reason Light doesn't just sit in his room and ignore L while writing in his notebook all day.
Man.
A character having inner conflict between two motives such as this doesn't mean he is less intelligent, and only goes to show the writing quality of the story and how he's more like
They paid attention to the actual character's
story,
personality.
style, structure, substance, and the principles of screenwriting. Robert McKee explains this as the true character, in which true character can only be expressed through choice and dilemma. How the person chooses to act under pressure is who he is. The greater the pressure, the truer and deeper the choice to character.
Right.
So when someone is forced to deal with a life or death choice against the world's greatest minds and decides to make these choices, you can be sure is probably more akin to his true self and his real motives, with his initial unconscious desires becoming more conscious as he gets older, which is why he comments on L's pride when analyzing someone like Nier, whereas when he was younger, he thought it was actually due to his moral compass completely. There's one more thing that I sort of want to review before wrapping up this video.
Cool.
A little bit off topic, but I thought I might say it. And that's a video you've probably already seen already, in which people think that Light slipped up and gave information about the Kitamuras and Ray Pember trailing him to L that he shouldn't have known at the time.
Right.
Which basically just makes him admit he's guilty. The only problem with this, and maybe it's due to being somewhat subtle, is that Light and L talk in this hospital. He gives the information out about the case for what is shown to actually be hours. But the proof of this is a very one small establishing shot that shows it turns nighttime before Light talks about things he shouldn't have known before L told him, implying that L gave him some info while they talked for hours.
Right.
Weird thing to debunk, but it just bothered me a bit. And a lot
It's
of
interesting. I
people think
feel
that
like
Light
Seth's
just randomly
like
slipped
trying
into
to
L
address
Ray
a few
Pember was
videos that
tailing
I've not seen here
That
in this
aside,
video,
Light
which is
Yagami's
quite interesting.
motives
That's
are a bit
cool.
interesting in how they show how boredom, pride, and how we are raised and who we admire warp us as people. Have you ever met someone who likes to argue? Who likes to make people feel
God,
bad
yes.
about a video game? Have you ever even met a troll? Maybe a really heinous troll that goes way too far and still laughs about it later. Maybe a swatter, a
Assholes.
someone really weird. What inspires people to do these heinous and mean things? What inspires people even to do things such as kill others? What inspires people to do bad things that don't even directly benefit them in any physical form? Maybe it can be illness, anger, desperation, idealism, or maybe sometimes all it takes is being a little tired of the mundane, a bit of boredom, and getting just a little too obsessed with yourself, your ideas, and not caring much for others.
Ooh.
Maybe you expect too much from people and it warps us on how we think compared to how people actually are.
Yeah.
Maybe then it's possible that something as simple as boredom can inspire us to be evil.
Whoa. What a way to end the video. Holy freaking Jesus. Wow, that video was class. That was dead good. Yo. Seth, I love your Death Note videos. That was sick. That was such a really good insight into like why Light does what he does, or did what he did within the series. Like, mate, that was so cool. The comparisons with like Ryuk being the physical, like actual, like what he's thinking inside as well is a good one. And, oh mate, chills. Loved it. Anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video, I upload links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month for the last helps support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that, and thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe, and leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos, and I'll see you guys, all you guys, next time.